Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to Sandra's Stenography and Shorthand Dictation. I really do appreciate all the views, all the comments. Please keep doing that so you can support this channel. You can also leave me a comment at the bottom of any video, and you can also share and give these videos a thumbs up. It is really motivating when you do so. So, on with the dictation. We are here today, or I am here today, to provide you some Q&A. I have been lacking in that area, so I am trying to provide more videos with Q&A. I do have a whole playlist of Q&As, but I did notice that there are not as many videos in the Q&A playlist as it is in the jury charge playlist. So I'm going to start beefing that up, and give you more videos with the Q&A. As a matter of fact, that's what we're going to be working on for the rest of this week. Let's see. And maybe the week after that as well. Turn the live chat on, even though I'm doing this video private. And the reason I'm doing it private is because it's kind of lonely when you do a live video and no one's there. So that's the reason I started doing them private. So, hi everyone. Let me tell them about this video, which I'm going to tell you about it as well at the same time. So this video is Q&A on Swindle. And it's at 120 words per minute. Let's get to it. Let me pull up the dictation. I now have it up. Enlarge it. All right. If you came here to write, you're at the right place. Take this and put that over here. All right. Ready? At 120 words per minute, Q&A on Swindle. Let's write it, please. Question, will you state your name, please? Answer, Sydney R. Pelham. Question, you spell that P-E-L-H-A-M? Answer, that is right. Question, where do you live? Answer, Boulder, Colorado. Question, are you acquainted with or have you ever met Mr. L.G. Newman, one of the defendants here today? Answer, yes. Question, have you met Roy Andrews? Answer, yes. Question, are you also acquainted with Mr. Maxwell, Peter Maxwell? Answer, yes. Question, will you tell us when you first became acquainted with Mr. Newman? Can you give us the year? Answer, 1976. Question, where were you at the time when you met him? Answer, at the Transit House, which is a hotel in Boulder. Question, was there a meeting there, or was that just a private gathering? Answer, there was a meeting. Question, tell us about how many people were present. Answer, there was about 10 or 12. Question, do you remember what took place at that time? Answer, part of it, yes. Question, how did you get acquainted, or whom did you get acquainted with Mr. Newman? Answer, Dr. Roberts invited me to the meeting. Question, was Dr. Roberts at the meeting? Answer, yes. Question, had you talked to Dr. Roberts about the products that Mr. Newman was interested in? Answer, yes. Question, and before you went to the meeting, you were already familiar with the business of the Newman Company. Is that correct? Answer, yes. Question, now, will you tell us What took place at that meeting? I am talking now about the meeting at the Transit House in Boulder. Answer, well, I was a little early at the meeting and I was introduced to Mr. Newman. He talked to me a short time privately, just the two of us at a table. And he told me about the things that they were going to do and the different companies they were going to have, and said we were all pioneers starting a new business and we were going out into the wilderness, so to speak, and clear away the timber and build a new business. And it is going to consist of different enterprises. The first one he had in mind was a bicycle sprocket and a speed reducer. And he was going to do a lot of laboratory work. He was going to have one of the world's biggest laboratories, and he had already done some experimental work in rays, and we hadn't seen anything in rays yet, and our conversation was interrupted by others coming in, and the meeting proceeded. Question, now, how many meetings did you attend all told? Answer, 4, as I recall. Question, where were the other meetings? Answer, 1 at Mr. Andrews' restaurant, 1 at Mr. Anderson's home in Denver, and 1 at the Nelson funeral home. Question, did you ever invest any money in the Newman Company? Answer, I bought 4 units, 400. Answer, were any so-called high-pressure methods used on you to get you to buy stock? Answer, no, sir. Question, was the general scheme of the meetings to explain what they had and what they hoped to be able to do, and then you bought stock or not as you pleased? Answer, that is right. Question, did you ever hear Mr. Andrews or Mr. Maxwell make any statements in reference to the business of the Newman Company? Answer, well, I heard Mr. Newman at the meetings telling how these units were going to increase in value, how much money we were going to make. Question, you are talking now about Mr. Newman? Answer, yes. I can't recall Mr. Maxwell saying about how much money they were going to make. He always encouraged people to buy units and help put the thing over. Question, who did that? Answer, Mr. Maxwell. Question, did anyone promise that there would be a dozen manufactured? Answer, well, sure. When you talk about it, I think it is a promise. Question, well, let me put it this way. Was it a matter which depended on getting the sprocket going? Answer, well, to be accurate, the two that I was really interested in, regardless of the other 10, was the speed reducer and the bicycle sprocket. Question, but you understood that the bicycle sprocket was going to be manufactured first? Answer, that's right. Question, when that was successful, they were going into these other things? Answer, yes, sir. Question, was that your understanding at the time? Answer, that is right. Question, what was said about the production? You never heard they were actually in production of this bicycle sprocket, did you, Mr. Pelham? Answer, no, I didn't. Question, statements were made that were hoped to be soon or something to that effect? Answer, that is right. Question, there were certain difficulties in the way? Answer, yes. Question, such as the fact that machinery was not available? Answer, that is right. Question, or steel after the war started wasn't available? Answer, that is right. Question, just so there will be no misunderstanding, you and I are not related, are we? Answer, no, sir. Question, Mr. Pelham, at any of these meetings at which you heard the defendant Andrews talk, he never did anything except explain the sprocket, take it apart, and show you how it worked? Answer, that is right. Question, were you ever at the plant in Chicago? Answer, yes. Question, did you see any sprockets at the time at the plant? Answer, no. Question, did you ever see a sprocket? Answer, I have seen just a model mounted or used as a sample for display. Question, were you ever present when Dr. Roberts and Ray White were talking to Mr. Newman about using the sprocket on a bicycle in a demonstration? Were you ever present at those meetings? Mind you, I am asking you when Dr. Roberts, Ray White, and Newman were talking about it. Answer, I was present at meetings when they talked to Mrs. Newman, but I don't know what they were talking about. Question, at any of these meetings that you attended, did Mr. Newman ever furnish an accounting or a financial statement? Answer, no. Question, and how many feet south of the south curb line of Oak Street? This is just approximately just to the best of your recollection. Answer, what? Question, to the best of your recollection. Answer, about 15 feet. Question, now, will you state the surrounding conditions where the defendant car ended up? In other words, answer, in a yard. Well, it was in the yard of some people's house there. It went through a steel fence and it more or less ended up in a hedge. Question, it went through a steel fence? Answer, yes. Question, I show you Exhibit B, purporting to be a picture of a street intersection, and ask you to identify it. This has already been done at 100 words per minute. I will link that video to this one. So you'll see it somewhere here, down here, somewhere below. So that is your 120 word per minute dictation Q&A on Swindle. I hope that this was something that helped you. And if it was helpful to you, please hit the thumbs up button. I'll be also doing this, a continuation at 140, 160, 180. Y'all already know how I do this. I just run through all the speed so I can get everybody covered. So I'd like to thank you again for coming to Sandra's Stenography and Shorthand Dictation. The owner of this channel loves you and cares about you and want you to succeed. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. As always, happy writing.